Hi guys. All right, I'm back. I know you guys love everything foiling, so we just did some videos using the Gemini foil press and also the Glimmer machine to make these beautiful backgrounds. And you know, there was some trial and error, but I think I have a pretty good understanding now of how to use these background dies and the foils for them. But now I have all of this leftover foil. So we need to figure out how to use the waste with all these. So I'm going to use some of the ones that maybe didn't foil so well as our tester pieces, because I've never foiled waste on the Glimmer yet. So let's do it together. You know, we have to make the proper sandwich. So what we're going to do is we have the machine on. We have the platform. It'll turn green when it's ready. Then I have my big kick off to the side here. I don't need to show that. But some of the foils came out gorgeously. Like the star ones that I did with the silver. This is perfect. This one's perfect. This rainbow one. So we have some really good leftover pieces here. So I really want to get good foiling with them. But in order to do that, I need to kind of use up some of these bad pieces that didn't foil so well and figure out what is the best sandwich and heat setting to use for those. And all right, so it says the platform's ready. The first thing I'm going to do is put a piece of the scrap foil down. Now this is going to vary depending on your heat setting, the paper you're using, and what kind of foils you use. Now I used every kind of foil here. I used foil quill foil, I used Toto foil, I used Gemini foil, and I used Glimmer foil. So I will try to remember which one was which. But the important part right here is to find out which sandwich works. So I'm using the ugly pieces of foil, the ones that didn't foil so well. Foil side, pretty side down, right? We're going to put a piece of black cardstock. Now this is cheapy black cardstock. You can get a whole pack. I usually use this to mat my cards, but you don't have to cut it down. So I'm just going to use that. And then we need a good sandwich. So I have 2 pieces of folded over paper there. And then I'm going to use my normal sandwich and see how that does. We're going to turn the timer on. We might need to add more shims. We might need to add like maybe a rubber, like a embossing mat or something. We'll have to see. So once the timer stops blinking, then we'll run it through my big kick or big shot. Whatever you have, like I said, you're going to want to write down then once you figure it out using the waste. And I normally will write down instructions on the back of my dies. So on here I have how to use it in the Gemini machine. I pretty much got it to work really easily in the Spellbinders machine, but I might want to make a note on how to use the waste of those. And you can see there's foil everywhere. If you didn't catch those 2 videos, I'll link them at the end for you guys. But I did one with the Gemini foil press and one with the Spellbinders. And I gotta say, I think the Spellbinders Glimmer won this round. Okay, so now let's do the waste foil and see what we get here. Now, I don't think this is enough pressure. I can feel already it's not resisting. So I think I'm gonna add some kind of a shim here. Let me grab like a thin... This is not a thin one, but let's see. Okay, this is an Anna Griffin shim, which is pretty thick. I'm just going to put that right over the paper. Let's see how that rolls through. Might be too thick. We'll find out. Yeah, that's too thick. Still too thick. Now we just have the foil, the paper, and I think this Spellbinders embossing mat is thinner. I don't have one of those, so just use what you have. Okay, that seems to work pretty well right there. So let's do 1, 2, of passes here. Okay, let's see how this foiled. Got plenty of pressure there. Now there's always this clear little carrier sheet, and you kind of need to pick that off. Okay, so this did not foil the waist very well. So I'm going to put it through for another pass. Might have to heat it twice. Plus we were messing around trying to figure out our sandwich. So I'm going to do the paper, the foil, the paper. I'm going to stick with this rubber mat. And then this top glimmer plate. And I think we just need to make sure that it gets enough heat. By leaving all of that on there and sandwiching it, hopefully it will maintain some of that heat for us. So I took out this little green spacer pad and I took out the paper shims. And again, you kind of have to do your own experimenting here. Different machines have different thicknesses, different papers. The only thing that's really going to make a difference is the type of foil. The Gemini foil is a much lower heat. Gemini foil transfers very easy because it works at a much lower heat. These other foiling companies work at a higher heat level. So that's why we practice with the ugly pieces of foil, because, and if we mess it up, it's not that big of a deal on those. Let's see if I have a thinner. I don't have a Spellbinders embossing pad. I'll have to add that to my list when I go to the stamping show this spring. I have like 4 Anna Griffin ones. I have the Gemini one. That's like a magnetic. Well, they have a thin one, but I think yeah, the Gemini one is pretty thin. But it's like really thin. Like super thin. It's all chewed up. Okay, so we're just waiting for this to heat up. That is the one downfall to this machine. It does take a while to heat up, but I can understand why, because again, this foil works at a much higher temperature, so it takes a while to get up to that. So I can understand that part of it. And if you're new to foiling, welcome. I have lots of videos on regular foiling and on hot foiling. You can check out my playlists. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at nancystamps15@gmail.com. Now, our platform ready light came on, so I'm just hitting the timer on. So now what it's going to do is really tell us how long this needs to be sitting on there. The smoother your paper, the better transfer results you're going to have. So basically we're heating this one up twice, and that may be what it takes to get this to transfer over. And maybe we need an extra shim. Okay, timer is green. We're going to unplug. I plugged it right back in so it stays hot. I'm gonna give this a second to cool down. See if this worked any better. Oh, I think we have better results this time. There we go. That's how foiling the waist should look. That looks pretty good. Okay, so again, these are our practice sheets. So if they don't look good, it's because they didn't foil right the first time. But I like that. We're going to move on to the next one. Oh, this one's all black, so I think I'll use a white piece of paper on this one. So again, we put the foil pretty side down. We're going to put our cardstock on top of there. Now on this one, I am going to do a paper shim because the foil is bigger than my paper, and I don't want all of that foil transferring. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's really easy to clean up, but just for that sake. Now I'm going to put my embossing rubber thing on there, and then my top plate. That one paper shim shouldn't make a difference. Okay, now we're going to turn the timer on. And I just want to pull out the Gemini foil out of here because I know that's going to be, that's this one. This one's going to foil at a much quicker rate. The rest of these are all super hot foils. The Gemini foil is that one there. Okay. So if we know this works out with our sandwich, again, if you're new to this or you don't do your foiling often, you might want to keep a note of what you did here. So I know if I'm doing glimmer foiling waist, foil pretty side down, the paper, the rubber mat, and then the top plate. So now the timer is ready. Again, I like to do two complete passes. Uh-oh, I got a pretty flower on my embossing mat. Okay, and then I like to give that a second to transfer or cool down before it transfers. And again, perfectly foiled waist. Now again, this was a mistake foil, so we can just, you know, put something over that. But we're not wasting any foil. Okay, now I'm feeling pretty confident that this is going to work out. I'm going to go to one of my nicer pieces of foil, one that didn't get messed up. So here is a silver one. You want to make sure it's pretty flat. You don't want any bubbles or wrinkles in there because that's going to affect your foiling. And we're going to go back to the piece of black cardstock. Okay. It says my platform's ready. I'm going to go back to using my little rubber embossing mat, my top plate, hit timer. Now, this is where we're hoping that our experimenting pays off because we did two pretty well here. So now I know what kind of sandwich to use. And again, I'm just going to keep those notes in with my dies and things so that way when I go to do this again 3 weeks from now or 3 months from now, or maybe some of you aren't going to foil again until Christmas, you want to keep your notes because it can be frustrating when you're first starting out to use a machine and you just get trial and error. This is where you keep your notes because then it's, you know, you're validated when you get to a point like this where you're like, okay, I got it. And it only took me 2 tries to figure it out. I'll admit, I was getting frustrated with my Glimmer machine, or my Gemini machine doing these because they weren't coming out right. And then I went over to the Glimmer machine and it was almost instantly, it came out good. So different machines, different products, different papers. You're going to have different results, just like stamping. Different papers, different inks. You're going to have different results. Okay. I'm really hoping this one comes out well because this was one of the nicer pieces that came out. And again, you want to take your time. You don't want to rush through this. I think the rubber embossing mat really helps out. There's not a lot of sandwiches in here, so there's not a lot of movement. It's just basically the rubber mat and the top plate. So I don't really have to worry about a lot of things shifting. Okay, I want to give it a second to cool down. The more it cools down, the better adhesion you're going to have. Now see, this one didn't foil all the way. 99% foil. It has the little lines in it from the mat. But it looks pretty cool. Very masculine. It's like grid lines on there. I'd still use that for sure. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to go again with another pretty piece. Let's do this one. This is a rainbow piece that came out pretty good. Okay, and we want our black cardstock down. Oh, 2 pieces. Okay, hit our timer. Wait. This looks very masculine. You can see the grid lines in there. That's from the mat itself. That was Toto foil. It's plain silver. So that's why I always tell you guys, keep your waste foil, because you have some pieces that are really cool. Some that didn't come out so good, that's what you use for your experimenting. And the ones that are really pretty, like look at this one, they came out really nicely. You want to keep those and foil the waste. Now, if you don't want to foil it this way, another way you can do it is by using black toner sheets. These will stick to toner sheets, and you can just run it through your Mink or your laminator. That's the easy way of foiling the waste, in my opinion. Okay. And you'll find, like I said, some foils, like the Gemini foil much quicker than the other foils. The other foils, again, I cannot stress enough, are a higher heat temperature foil. Okay, this one has the lines in it too, but that's okay. I'm going to put that Gemini foil on there so you guys can see how easy this is going to transfer over. Because in fact, we'll just wait for the platform to get ready and then we'll put it on there. Pretty stinking cool. And then I save all these backgrounds and then I die cut from them, or I use them as they are as backgrounds. But you can throw together some pretty quick cards by having some backgrounds like this lie around. Okay, so this says platform ready. Now I'm going to use this one as the Gemini foil, and I know this one's going to transfer over pretty quickly because Gemini foil is a low heat foil. It does not take a lot to get this guy to come off of the foil sheet. That's gonna transfer over right away. So this was Toto foil. This was Couture Creations Go Press and Foil. What else do we have? Oh, here, we'll use this one next. This is Glimmer foil. This one came out beautifully, so we'll do this one next. So we're doing the Gemini foil, which should be pretty quick and easy. And this is just regular black cheapy cardstock. I think this is 65 pounds. It's pretty light. So the heavier your cardstock, the glossier it is, I think you're going to have nicer results. But again, I'm just foiling the waist here. These are going to be backgrounds, so I don't really need to use my good paper on these. Use the good paper on the fronts. These are the fronts. You can see how nicely they came out. I mean, these would be backgrounds too, but you know what I mean. Okay. Let's see how quick this is going to transfer over. This is the Gemini paper craft foil, not the multi-surface foil. Getting those lines again. I gotta figure out how to get around that. But look at that. I knew that was gonna work perfectly. Except for those lines. Ugh, but you know what? It gives us a really cool distress look. I dig it. I like that. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a piece of paper under the foil. Maybe that'll help us with the lines. Then I'm gonna put the foil this way. Ooh, there's only one problem with that. Okay. We have to cut this down because otherwise then I'm going to get foiling all over my mat. And I don't want all that excess foil on my machine. So I'm just reversing the order of doing this. Might help, might not help. Maybe I should use a different piece of foil before I waste this pretty piece of foil. The other thing you can use is use double stick tape and just stick this down on double stick tape. You can do that. All right, I'm not going to mess up that pretty piece of foil, but I am going to try to get the lines out. So I'm going to put my cardstock down. Put one of my practice pieces down. I am going to cut that excess foil off of there. Because otherwise it'll stick to my glimmer machine. And it's fine. You can get it out by using some acetone or nail polish remover. But because I'm doing experiments here, I don't want to get all that foil on my machine. It's not going to hurt anything, but except my OCD. Okay. So, paper down, foil down, pretty side up, right? Or down, however you want to say that. Foiling is going to stick down. Now we're going to put our rubber mat. Let's see if this gets rid of those little lines. The lines are cool, but I want to have a smoother foiling. I don't want to have all the lines on there. See the grid lines? Those are all from the mat. Still pretty cool looking though. I think I'm more impressed with my waist foiling than I am the actual foiling pieces. So now I have all of these backgrounds just from waist foiling, and then I have all of these that I actually foiled. But we'll see if that works better with getting rid of the lines. And if it does, I'll have to make a note to myself so that I know that. And then we can foil this pretty piece. Okay, timer's done blinking. Ah, I got the wrinkle in my foil. That's a bummer. That makes me sad. But the lines are gone. I think I would have needed a shim. That's a piece I would die cut. But the lines are gone, so that worked out a little better. Okay, this is the last one. We're gonna try. Okay, he's ready now. So we're gonna put our cardstock down. Cardstock down first. Foil shiny side up. Okay. Make sure there's no wrinkles in it this time, Nance. I think what happened is it got static electricity to this guy. So I'm going to put a piece of paper shim between. There we go. Now we're going to turn our timer on. This will be the last one we do, guys, in foiling the waist with the Spellbinders Glimmer machine. A couple extra pieces here, but you guys get the idea now. This was one of the messed up foils because it was double foiled anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And like I said, we can always die cut some little stars out of this and put them in the background. Then I'll make a note to myself on how to foil the waist. Turn it upside down. Okay, timer. Here we go. Just move this out of the way since we're done with this right now. So see all this excess foiling on here? You can use, like I said, acetone to get that off. Okay, I don't see any lines. I don't see any wrinkles. So let's hope this went all the way through. And if not, we're just going to have to run it through again. Wow, now that is saving the best for last. That is perfect, perfect waist foiling. And then all you have left is this clear shell, which goes in the garbage. So there we go, guys. If you missed the videos where I actually made these backgrounds, again, I'll link those for you. But we can see that waist foiling with the Spellbinders Glimmer, in my opinion, was pretty successful. Took some trial and error, but I think they came out okay. And like I said, the best one came out in the end there. And if you have any questions or comments, post them down below. If you're new to my channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber. You're going to click over here in the bubble, and then when the bell comes up, click all notifications. And I will link these 2 videos. One will be for the Spellbinders machine, and one will be for the Gemini foil press machine. If you like this video, please smash the thumbs up button. And thanks for watching, and keep on foiling. Bye-bye, guys.